So now we're going to start row 2. And row 2 works a little bit differently than row 1. First of all, we're going to put our hook in a slightly different spot. So you're going to need to rotate your piece a little bit towards you to be able to see the stitches that you need to put your hook into. And remember that a stitch looks like a horizontal V. The chain stitch that you just made is this V. We basically pretend that it doesn't exist because that's the stitch that we used to help add height to our row. So you'll see often in patterns, they say, put your hook in the second stitch from the hook. And that refers to this stitch. This is the stitch that we want to put our hook under. So we want to put our hook under the entire V. We don't want to split that V in half like we did in the beginning. We want to actually put our hook under the entire V so it looks like we've got 3 strands of yarn on our hook now. And the placement of your hook, how it's under the entirety of the V, is how you're going to crochet from now on. So now let's do the yarn over again. So bring your yarn over the top of the hook from the back to the front of the hook. Pull the piece and the hook away from each other to artificially make the gap the hook needs to go through a little bit bigger. Rotate your hook down 90 degrees and bring your hook and that yarn through the first 2 loops on your hook. So you should be left with 2 loops on your hook. And remember again to push your hook towards your yarn hand and pull it away from you. And maybe by now you've gotten used to telling how far you need to pull your hook out. But if not, don't be afraid to use the handy dandy trick where you just check and try to pull your hook out of those loops. Now yarn over again and then pull that yarn through both loops on the hook. Ta-da! Okay, you've made 1 single crochet stitch, and now you need to make a second single crochet stitch in the same hole. So how do you see that hole? Do the tugging method. So hold on to your piece with one hand, hold on to the stitch you just made with the other, and tug that stitch and see what hole moves. That's the hole to put your hook into, from the front to the back of the piece. So it looks like, if you rotate your piece, it looks like you have 3 strands of yarn on the hook. Yarn over, pull it through the first 2 loops on the hook, and then make sure you have 2 loops left on your hook that are of a decent size. Yarn over again, and pull it through both loops on the hook this time. And hooray! You have done the first 2 stitches of row 2.